So in this video, I'm going to show you how to install R in RStudio for macOS. So the first thing I want to emphasize here is that you need to install R, the programming language, before you can install RStudio. And so oftentimes folks will make a pretty common mistake and conflate the two and sort of assume that RStudio also contains R, or anything along those lines. But this is not true, so we want to make sure that we understand that RStudio is just an environment to make R, the programming language, more user-friendly. So I'm actually going to show you the distinction between R in RStudio in terms of what they look like once we get them installed. But for now, I just want to go through and walk you through the process of first installing R and then installing RStudio. So we're going to have this link down in the description, which is R for macOS, and you have a whole bunch of different versions here, depending on what your macOS version is. So the first step here is to actually figure out what your macOS version is. So I'm going to show you first how to do it through Terminal, and then how you can do it through the GUI, which is sort of like this environment on your desktop. So the first thing we're going to do is hit Command Spacebar, and you're going to have the Spotlight search pop up, and just like you saw a second ago, we're going to search for Terminal and then double click. So now we have Terminal open, and so all we're going to do here is type SW underscore BERS. And so essentially we're looking for the version here. So my product version right now is 12.5. And so I'm going to keep that number in mind while I'm looking for a particular R version. Now, what's important here to note is that you're going to sort of pick the R package based off of that number. So what I'm going to go for is this top one up here, just because this is for macOS 10.13 or higher. Now, this down here, right, says that it's for macOS 11 and higher, right? So the Big Sur. So in theory, that might tip us off to want to download this one. But what's important is that this one's only for M1 Macs, so it does not work on the Intel-based Macs. So that's important to sort of know. Unless your Mac is brand new, you're probably running an Intel-based Mac. Now, another way to check your macOS version is to sort of come up to the top left up here, click this Apple, and then click About This Mac. I am not going to do that just to protect my serial number, but you're able to see your version quite easily by doing that. Then once we've identified it, all we're going to do is click the package that works for us. In the description, I'm going to have some quick links to all of the different types of R for the most recent Mac OSs, but if you have an older version, just let me know. And what we're going to do is click to open this up, and then it's going to launch the Mac installer. So I'm just going to drag this over here. So there's just a number of steps that we are going to click through here. I'm going to go pretty quick through this, but we can just hit continue, continue. You can read the license agreement if you would like, and that's going to tell you where the destination is going to be. So I'm going to put it on my Macintosh HD. And so this will tell you how much space it's going to take up. I'm going to go ahead and install. And then it's going to ask for my password. So I'm going to go ahead, type that in, and then click install. We'll just wait for this to do this. Great, so the installation was successful, so we can go ahead and click close to this and then move to trash. Great, so now we have R installed, and so if we go down here to Launchpad, which is sort of where many of our apps are, we come up here and then click R. This is what we just installed here, so R. And so when we run that, we sort of get this label that says R console, this classic white screen. We have a little bit of our copyright information and what our current working directory is. But so this is R, and so you can technically do everything for the class in here. But the reason we want to use RStudio and why we're going to download it in a second is it gives us a whole bunch of more user-friendly tools in our tool belt. So right now, for example, everything has to be done line by line in the console. So if I wanted to come back up here and try to edit this and change it to 2+3, for example, I wouldn't be able to. It just always goes down to the next line. Also, if you're writing pretty complicated code, so things that require many more lines than just one line at a time, which is typically the case for biostatistics and other disciplines, it's very difficult to do this in R console because if you make a mistake, you have to sort of start over. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, and now we're going to install RStudio. So this link is also in the description, but we're going to come to rstudio.com, and this is what it looks like at the top of the link in the description. It says download the RStudio IDE. We want this one here, the free desktop version. It's going to jump you down to the bottom of the page here, and then we're going to go ahead and click download RStudio for Mac. Now what's important to note here is that this website does a really good job at sort of recommending the R version for your particular machine. So we don't have to do that much thinking about our Mac version for this. If for whatever reason, though, it's giving you trouble, just let me know and I'm happy to help out. But after we've clicked this blue button, we are going to launch this DMG down here for the app. And then all we're going to do is take this and drag and drop it into our applications. Now, I already have RStudio in here, so I'm going to go ahead and replace this just for demonstration purposes, but you will not get this message. It'll just pop right up. And once it's finished copying, we can go ahead and close this window here. Great. Now what we can do is go back to Launchpad, come up to search, do RStudio, and go ahead and launch that. Takes just a second to load. Yes, I would like to open that. Awesome, so mine is all open. I'm just going to bring this over to the side of the screen. And now this is not quite what yours is going to look like. So even though I just installed it from scratch, I had a theme installed on my computer already for RStudio. And so yours is going to be a white background, but you'll see the same sort of thing here. So we'll see this sort of R information. You'll see the environment over here on the right, and then you'll see the plots tab being highlighted, and it will be blank down here. We're going to go through and have a tour of this in the next video, but I did want to show you that everything that exists in R console is right here. So the R console is integrated right into RStudio, but then we're able to sort of add all sorts of other helpful features that we'll go into in a second to sort of build on R console. So in this video, again, we just showed you how to install R and RStudio, what the distinction between the two of them is. And we're ready to get started if both of these are able to open for you. So if you had any issues with this, shoot me a message and I'll be happy to sort of work through it with you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.